And in studio virtually, we have Gregory Kim, president and co-founder of Help is on the Way. KupunaWiki is Hawaii's senior resource. We talk to the best local professionals in the state regarding topics such as real estate, senior housing, estate planning, finance, and health, so that our Kupuna families can find the best resources in the midst of a life transition. We strive to make sure our seniors are informed and supported every step of the way. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Brandon Lau.
And I'm Andrew Leon,
your host for the KupunaWiki radio show.
Our title sponsor for today is Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors, providing you with the best real estate information so you can make the most informed decisions. As they like to say, real estate is about choice. To contact them, call 753-9033.
And now we have our real estate tip of the week, brought to you by Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors.
Lead-based paint was a product which was prevalent in properties prior to 1978. It is not a legal requirement for sellers of properties prior to 1978 to disclose their knowledge of whether or not lead-based paint is contained in the property. If you are uncertain as to whether or not lead-based paint is contained in the property, you can always hire a professional inspector to check your home.
For more information on performing due diligence for your next purchase, contact Cheney Brooks Choice Advisors at 753-9033. Well, again, today we have in the studio virtually is Gregory Kim. He is the president and co-founder of Help is on the Way. Welcome, Gregory.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being in our show. Well, we love how you've jumped in to help Kupuna during this pandemic. And we've heard about your organization, Help is on the Way. And we know you're doing exciting things. Maybe you can share, before we talk about the services you're providing, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised? And what do you do these days?
Sure, I'll tell you what I do, my daytime job.
Yeah.
I'm a corporate lawyer from Hawaii. Went away to college, came back, and been involved in the community in one way or another for a long time. When I made partner at my law firm here, I asked myself, is that it? So then I started looking around for other things to do, and first started with boards, and then realized that I'm kind of a hands-on person, so I like doing projects, not just talking about them.
Right.
So I leaned that way, and discovered I had an entrepreneurial spirit, which I didn't know about, because when I was younger I was kind of told to be a professional. So I became a lawyer, and that's fine, but I have the ability and willingness to take chances, and so that's kind of an interesting blend of things. Community service is really my passion, and I figure that's why we're on the earth here, to help people.
Are you a native of Oahu?
Yes.
Okay.
Grew up in Manoa, and lived in Kailua for a long time, and now we're back in Manoa because my wife works at Puno School as an administrator.
Oh, nice. Well, we appreciate how you're continuing to give back to the community. And, I think being an entrepreneurial, there's a spirit behind it, being
Absolutely.
an entrepreneur and wanting to start things. Yes, you have to be a risk taker, but you also have to have some vision. Mm-hmm. So maybe you can share a bit of the vision for what you're currently doing, which is Help is on the Way.
Absolutely. Well, it all started on Facebook. So, a lot of us are posting there. I mean, that's where older people go now, apparently. Instagram is where maybe you go to. But
broad ranges of people.
Yeah, younger people,
Yeah.
because Facebook is passé, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, my friends were posting, a lot of them were entrepreneurial, complaining about this, that, and the other thing with the COVID, right? And I just got tired of it, and I said, hey, this one guy posted, look at these Kupuna pictured in a store, no groceries, no help. How come, people are hoarding and all this?
Yeah.
I said, hey, brother, why don't you do something about it then? Don't just complain. Put the energy into doing something. He didn't respond, so I just said, I'm going to do that. So that was like on March 20th or so.
Which is only a few months ago.
Yeah, March 22nd, I incorporated Help is on the Way. I'm a corporate lawyer, so I could do that. And a one-man wrecking crew, right? And then I have the entrepreneurial side, so I'm just like, let's just go.
Right.
And the DNA of an organization is we're action-oriented. We're not going to get bogged down in administrative details. Even such things as liability. I know it sounds funny coming from a lawyer, but if the first thing we worried about is protecting ourselves, then we're just not going to get out of the gate.
Right.
Because when you're doing something out there is some risk, right? And so you can't be so conservative that you don't take action. We've eventually caught up legally because we do have volunteer agreements now and things like that, but I didn't focus on that. The first thing I focused on was let's get a group of people together and get them help. And it's evolved a lot since then. Our website is built out, our communication system, we use Slack, and so everyone's on that platform. So we have a pretty slick system now, I think. Usually when we get a request for a delivery, we get a response within 5 minutes.
Wow.
And then someone's out on the road.
Jeez.
Hey, we have volunteers. They're like rabid dogs, man.
This is a non-profit?
Oh, yeah.
Sheesh.
We're like
5 minutes, that's
Uber on steroids, and you don't have to pay us.
Well, I'm looking at your website, hihelpisontheway.org.
Right.
hihelpisontheway.org. And I mean, it's great. It's very clean. You have up there front and center for Kupuna, quarantined individuals and families and others.
Absolutely. We want to, our mission is to keep people safely at home. And so we'll do the driving for you. And we've picked up, of course, groceries at Foodland or other stores. A lot of stores do that, Target, Walmart, Down to Earth. I can just keep going on. More and more are doing it. And so they don't have to go out. In fact, they can't go out. And even when the state opens up, they're not going to want to go out even more so because they want to be around crowded people. I don't think so. So it's going to continue for a while. I've delivered a urine sample, because Kupuna said she needs to get it to her doctor, but she's scared to go out. So I went to her doctor, got the vials, went to her house. She did her thing. She wasn't ready, so I went shopping for a half hour. Came back, and the husband was like, "Well, don't worry, I'll take it." I said, "No, it's okay." I came back, and then I went to back to the diagnostic labs, dropped off the sample, and she posted the kindest words. I mean, we get so many appreciative words, but it just killed me. A lot of God bless yous, and it just makes you realize, you're doing the right thing. That's what we're here for.
So, the one question people always ask is, who are the hands behind the help, right? Because obviously there's a need, and you hit it on the head, but who are the ones who who came together to help you start doing this?
So, our leadership team, I would say, I would just highlight because every week that passes, I realize how special they are, and I think we're just blessed by that. It's fairly random in a way, but they're all very highly competent people. Kat Tashner is my co-founder of Business Law Corps, which is a nonprofit to help entrepreneurs do free legal work. We have Jen Latham, who's an Episcopal deacon, soon to be priest. She stepped up. Anya Chang, she's actually a professional dancer and teacher. She stepped up. Kimmy Ade Foster is a lawyer, as is Kat. They're partners in downtown law firms. And Nathan Wade, who's our IT guy, but he's jack of all trades. He was in my law school class. I teach at the law school here part-time.
Oh, wow.
He's a software developer. He did our website and Slack, and as well as a marketing expert. So I was just telling them the other night, we're so blessed because each of them can be project managers, in their own right, And sometimes we collide because we have different ideas, but it all works, I'd rather have that than people that don't do anything. So we're definitely action-oriented, and when we see a need, we jump on it, and we try to make it work.
And how did you come across these team members? I mean, people you already knew, or you put the word out?
Most of them I knew. Kat, I knew. She was my law school student, actually, about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And she got me to do our legal nonprofit, because she goes, "Hey, Professor, we should do that." So I said, because I had this idea of like a Peace Corps, but for corporate attorneys helping entrepreneurs out there. So we did that. And then Kimmy Ede Foster is her friend. Any friend of Kat's is a friend of mine. Nathan Wade was in my law school class. Anya Chang, we know each other through Puno connections, dance connections. I take tap dance with my wife at Diamond Head Theater, so and I've gone to plays there. She's a very talented dancer and actress. And Jen Latham, she's actually, her husband is Mike Latham, the president of Puno School.
Right.
So we live on campus, because my wife is an administrator there too, so I just know her through that connection. But I don't know, like I say to people, someone must be looking out for us out there, because somehow it all kind of worked. And I think that kind of differentiates us because we have really highly competent people.
I'll say.
They're not only action-oriented, but they can get things done effectively.
Well, we definitely want to hear more about the kind of things that you've set into motion with your great team there, and the kind of services that you're providing to our Kupuna and the community. So we'll talk more about that right after this commercial break.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, we have Gregory Kim. He's the president and co-founder of Help Is On The Way. Great introduction of the first segment. A group of colleagues, friends that had a mission and wanted to get together to help the community, which is very memorable of you guys in today's current events, given how everyone is stuck at home. Even again, not just Kupuna, but families that are stuck at home and need that extra help. I want to dive into this free food box that I think you guys recently just started giving food boxes to families, Kupunas and other families that are in need.
Yes.
Why don't you share a little bit about this?
Thank you so much. Yes, that's our latest project. Our thing is when we see a need, we try to fill it. And so over the weeks, we've been in operation now maybe for 6 weeks. We've been getting calls from people that say they're hungry, they're starving, and it happens a lot. And we're a driving force, so we don't have our own food supply. We do know people that do. Pacific Gateway, for example, we deliver food boxes from there, so we have that option. But that problem is escalating in Hawaii. When we're at the food distributions on Fridays down at Pacific Gateway, the line got so long that the police had to shut us down because it was creating a traffic jam. So then we converted it to a walk-in. And the first week we helped Pacific Gateway, we had 4 boxes that we delivered because we do the on-site distribution, but for people that can't get there, Kupuna, we do delivery. So last week we did 150 deliveries.
Wow.
And this week, I wouldn't be surprised if it's near 200. So I'm not sure how many more we can do. And so, everyone needs all hands on deck. There's no one solution. And so we thought, well, we want to help. Where help is on the way. So we need to have something to help them with other than the driving. So the idea I came up with was to have a decentralized distributed network of a food supply. That's different from a food bank, which is centralized, and they have to get a ton of food and a ton of money. The idea is people helping people. If each family can donate 1 bag of groceries a week to help somebody, it's not a big deal for them, right? And so the idea is to raise food from people with the promise we're going to deliver the food to people that don't have food. Because we do delivery. We know who they are. They call us. And so we did a food drive last Saturday with Central Union as our partner. They're very gracious to help. They're very community oriented. So we staged it there and we raised over 200 boxes in one day. And so now we're in the process of trying to find people that need the food. You would think that's not hard, but the people in need aren't the same people today as they were yesterday. The need is growing, and a lot of people didn't have need before. And so we're really trying to get the word out about the fact that we have these boxes. I think it's going to happen. We got contacted today, for example, by a shelter for homeless seniors, and they're supposed to be self-sufficient, but they're not. And so they were asking if we could help, and they said anything will help. So we're going to deliver them a bunch of boxes tomorrow.
In regard to that, what do you see as some of the needs that are not being met in those other organizations, like the shelter?
Well, obviously food.
Yeah.
We raise non-perishable items, so we don't have to deliver it right away. But food is number one. I think toiletries, we also included toiletries. I think that the number one need, or one of the top needs that I've seen, and, this is through the Kupuna Elder Food Security Coalition that we're part of, is the ability for people on SNAP, which used to be called food stamps, to be able to pay for their groceries without going to the store. And we're working very hard on that problem. On the mainland, it's permitted in certain stores like Safeway, but it hasn't happened here yet.
Right.
And so for us to be able to help them, if we have to drive them to the store, that sort of defeats the purpose of keeping them safe.
Right.
So most people can charge it over the phone, but the SNAP card doesn't work that way. It's not connected with a vendor like MasterCard.
Right.
So they have to actually physically go down to the store to swipe their card. So that's a huge gap right now.
And talking along those lines, some of these need-based offerings, typically you have to qualify to receive the benefit. But in your case, is it just where you based on their word, you take them at their word, and if they need help, then you help them? How does that work?
Yes, in the early days, which is maybe 4 weeks ago, we would be more generous in terms of helping anyone who called. If they say they're Kupuna, okay. Now that times are tougher, we have to be a little bit more stringent. I would say, as a side note, one good thing about us is we don't have money, we don't need money, we don't want money. So you might say, okay, that's great. Well, the good thing about that is no one can tell us what to do.
Right. So
we have tremendous agility. Like in the private sector, I'm a business corporate lawyer, right? One advantage is you can move fast. For nonprofits that need money, and they need the money, they have to respond to the requirements of their funders. So whether that be a foundation or even the IRS, when you get a 501c3 exemption to allow tax-deductible donations, you have to agree to certain restrictions on what you do. So I think it's not to say we're going to help anybody, but we can move very quickly, and we can require as little or as much as we want. Having said that, because of the needs, we are being a little more stringent. So we're asking people, do you have alternatives? If you're Kupuna, that's one item checked off the list. But the next question is, do you have any family that can help you? Because if they do, they can drive down to the food distribution. Do you have resources to buy food?
Right.
If not, that's another box we check. And then, how much food do you have? If they have like a month of food, maybe we'll catch up to them later.
Right.
So we're trying to hone in on that, and I found the way we're approaching it is actually a lot more meticulous and in terms of what we ask, than some other nonprofits. And I think it's probably bringing that kind of business mentality to things. We think through the thing, and then we just launch it. We have a script now that we give our dispatchers. I'm one of 5 dispatchers on our team. Mm-hmm. And when we get a request in by email, phone, or on the website, we're all watching the channel, and then we rotate the primary responsibility for the day.
Right.
So we're very responsive. Usually, we'll respond to requests within an hour.
That's amazing.
And because we can respond on our phone, Slack, the system is also an app.
So are you, throughout your day, just available once a ping comes in and it's your shift? Boom, you're responding.
I'm very on top of it.
Yeah.
When I see the ping come through, even if it's not my day, it's hard for me not to look at it.
I can tell.
Yeah, so I'm usually on top of that. But it's not that all dispatchers can't respond. It's just that we have one primary.
Right.
So we're all. But I like to tell people we're 24/7. We don't close anytime, but probably 7 of those hours we might be sleeping. But we don't stop at 6 o'clock. We go into the night and we're still working until we sleep. It's become almost a job for me, a full-time job. So I have to squeeze in my practice every now and then, and the other community work that I do. I'm also studying theology. Because I think what we do is spiritual. I don't have a career change in mind, but I just want to understand the truth. So that's why I'm doing it. So I think that'll help me be a better server of other people.
Well, I got to say, I think you're obviously running a very efficient and effective organization. How do you think in the long term you're going to be able to sustain or grow this? What do you think? What do you have in mind?
For some reason I can see the future. I don't know. God gifted me with that ability, so I can see into the future, and I can, and I'm seeing that the volunteerism is going to be more challenged soon.
Yeah.
Because people go back to work.
Right.
And one idea is we're going to do what we can do. Whatever we can do is a plus. But we need to onboard more volunteers so that we have more choices during the weekdays. And so that's one thing I can see. I think a lot of people have been asking, are you going to keep doing this when the virus is gone? And I don't know the answer to that yet. We're not focused on that. I do know that other cities around the country provide this service year-round, not just for COVID. So I think Kupuna need help, even outside of this situation. So we'll see what happens. I think we've built out a really good system and core volunteers, but really ready to decide on that yet.
Right. I know there's some organizations who even think about maybe adding a for-profit subsidiary to support things or for other reasons. Do you think that's something in the future you could see it transition to?
And I know quite a bit about this topic because as a lawyer, and so you have to be careful when you create these for-profit subsidiaries. But I think money generation, to me, being an entrepreneurial lawyer, you create the value and the monetization of it can come later.
Right.
Because we've had people wanting to give us money, and we just say we don't take money, And so there does need to be a business model at some point if it's going to continue, and hopefully not just take handouts. You want to have some sort of revenue generation. I think you're alluding to. Just because you're a nonprofit doesn't mean you can't charge for things. I think hospitals do a good job of charging. So you could have some sort of sliding scale of how you charge depending on the need. I know Meals on Wheels charges for their meals depending on your financial ability.
Right.
So there's different ways of skinning the cat.
Greg, I just wanted to ask, is this just for Oahu currently, or are you guys on the neighbor islands, or are you servicing the whole island?
We're servicing the whole island. We have drivers all over the island. Plus, we have a lot of crazy drivers that'll drive anywhere. So, that's a good thing about our drivers. They're very passionate. We've had inquiries from outer islands. We want to do it, but in order to do that, we're almost like a franchise. We have to find a core group that's willing to take charge. We're not going to just find a few people and say go at it, because we want it to succeed.
Right.
And so if there's a leadership team there that wants to do it and use our system, that's fine. If not, people can do their own thing on our islands, but I think we have something to offer there. If I had time, I would go talk to my business friends who have presence on the outer islands, and they probably would be able to get it set up. But for me, it's a question of energy, because there's just so much need here right now. I just don't have the bandwidth to venture out personally right now, but we're open to that.
And what's amazing is, you've opened yourself up not to just food, but pretty much anything that can be carried to your car.
Well, I said on the website, if we can fit it in our car, we'll transport it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
I think where I draw the line is it has to be legal. But we've transported boxes. It doesn't really matter what it is. I think I mentioned urine sample, medications. One lady called me. She goes, I'm stuck at home. I can't do my laundry. Could you pick up quarters for me? We're like, absolutely. So I went to First Line Bank, picked up quarters for her, dropped them off, and she was just moved to no end over that. Yesterday we had one come in. They're not all necessities like that. One woman from the mainland, her mom is 87, and she wanted to give her a birthday present. Her mom's all alone here on the island, and so she bought something at Barnes & Noble's, and she said, can you go pick it up? I said, sure, and the volunteer just loved it. Being able to brighten someone's day like that is not hard to see why someone would want to do that.
For some reason in my mind, there's what could be a slogan somewhere, big or small, we do it all.
Oh, wow, man.
I don't know, it's probably a slogan, but it kind of reminds me of what you folks do.
I better go register that now.
But it's almost on the lines of these small acts of kindness, but have huge emotional returns.
I like to say, in addition to the numbers and people and all the volume, we play small ball. We don't ever give anyone the runaround.
Right.
So every person counts, and I think we bring that to the table. And people are so appreciative just when you call them back. They say, thank you for calling me back. It makes me wonder if they ever got called back.
Right.
So, and just because it's not something we do, we try to find them help. We have connections to the food bank, pantries, whatever it takes, solving the SNAP problem, we're problem solvers with the idea that mainly we drive,
Well, it's amazing what you and your Superstar team have put together. It's really a great model that I think even those listening could be inspired by, right? You don't need a ton of money. You just need, a heart to serve, a little bit of inspiration and vision and perspiration, and you can help the community.
There's a line from Pearl Harbor that I heard recently. It was apropos the commander of the planes that went to bomb Tokyo, right? I forgot the colonel's name, the famous expedition, right, where they retaliated. Anyway, he said there's nothing like the heart of a volunteer, and that's why he thought they'd win the war, because these men were doing something they didn't have to do.
Right.
And to me, with my service and my work, some of the most important things people do are the things they don't have to do that don't pay.
Right. That is true. Well, Gregory, Kim, thank you so much for joining us. Again, can you just real quickly share how somebody can reach you and the organization?
Absolutely. We have a website, hihelpisontheway.org, where you can apply for delivery services or food. You can also apply to volunteer. Our phone number is 403-426-1013. Don't let the area code fool you. That's a Hawaii number. We get that through Google, by voice, as well as transcribed message. We're looking for that. And finally, our email, hihelpisontheway@gmail.org.
Well, thanks so much. Again, we were talking with Gregory Kim, president and co-founder of Help is on the Way. Thank you so much for being on our show, Gregory.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up next, we have our KupunaWiki Classic Trivia.